With the UBC, and today I'm here with Thunder, and we're doing a fun little Q&A. So to get started, first question, are you a student, and if so, what is your year and major?
Yeah, I am a student here at UBC, and I'm in my third year of the engineering program.
So do you have a specialty in engineering?
Yeah, I'm part of the biomedical engineering at UBC.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, and then how did you find out about becoming Thunder?
Back in first year, I was looking for a job that was fun, exciting, trying to get myself involved in sports, and kind of like a nice workout to like kind of integrate into my school school work balance.
Yeah.
And I was scrolling through the athletics career page, and I came across this position that was open, and so I kind of just applied, sent my resume in, and didn't really think otherwise about it, but they reached out and they were willing to interview me, and so I underwent the hiring process, and I ended up getting the job, and luckily I ended up really enjoying this job, so I kind of stuck with it throughout the years.
Nice, perfect, that's awesome. Okay, so you've been doing it since your first year then?
Yes, since my first year.
Oh my gosh, so kind of 2-3 years in the mascot suit, you know? Kind of what's your favorite part about being a mascot?
My favorite part about being a mascot is it's interacting with fans. Giving them high fives, giving them hugs, seeing the smile on their faces. It's really rewarding at all the games and at all the social events. It's really cool.
Do you have like a most memorable fan interaction?
Most memorable fan interaction? I got the funniest fan interaction where I was interacting with a bunch of kids at a basketball game, and I was climbing up some stairs and one of my toes fell off in the Thunder costume. And this little girl, she comes up to me and she's like, "Oh my God, Thunder, your toe!" And I remember being like, "Oh my God, like what happened to that?" And then she kind of ran off with it.
With your toe?
With the toe, yeah. And so somewhere out there's a mascot costume with a toe missing.
When you were applying for the job, did you need like any prior qualifications? Were they like in your interview, they were like, do a backflip?
When I applied, they asked me if I had any previous background experience as a mascot. Mm-hmm. In high school, one of the teachers asked me if I wanted to be the mascot because at the time, my high school was a pretty small high school, mm-hmm. and no one really wanted to be the mascot. So I kind of volunteered. Yeah. And one path led to another, and that got me here.
No way! That's so. It's always so interesting how people get into mascots because I'm just like, my school didn't really have a mascot, so it was always like one of those like, this is a new big fun thing that I was like, how do you get this job? So, and I guess like part of being mascot is you are this like champion for the school, and the Thunderbird has like this very long and storied history of like UBC and like promoting athletics and recreation. So I'm wondering for you, like, where do you see your role in that kind of like legacy of our athletic program?
Yeah, as a Thunderbird mascot, I definitely embody the UBC athletics and all of the athletes and all of its values. I think it's really important to have a connection between the athletes and the crowd. And I think Thunder does a really good job at that, where, sure, the game's going on, but it's having the fans interact with the embodiment of, like, the university, and have the fans follow chants and, drumming rhythms and all that. It's really cool, yeah.
Nice. Sorry, I got a lot of questions here. Do you have like a pre-game like hype up routine, or like what is your mindset for getting to a game and like being on that like super high energy level?
Just having a lot of confidence in yourself. I normally am a really shy person, but if you put on the costume, you become a whole new person.
Yeah.
You don't really act like how you would if you were like yourself, and the mask gives you a sort of like anonymity where they're not laughing at like me as a person, but they're laughing with Thunder and like all the jokes that he makes and how he interacts, and yeah.
Things like that. Nice. And then we asked some of our like audience members a couple of questions. So these ones might be like a little silly, but the people were curious. So the first question is, what is the visibility like in your suit? Like, how well can you see and move around while you're wearing the costume?
Surprisingly, it's not as bad as people would think.
Really?
Walking around, I have no trouble getting around anywhere that I would probably want to.
Okay.
And as for visibility, it's not the greatest, right?
I was gonna say, like, can you see over here?
Not really. But it's no different than putting on a narrow pair of sunglasses.
Okay. Okay, so you just have to be like more exaggerated in where you turn in order to actually see if there are small children around you.
I like to move my head around a lot and take note of my surroundings, just to avoid if like there's an unexpected obstacle in the way and I don't want to run into that, right? I take a mental note of that and just make sure to remember it.
This is good.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird question. How often does the suit get washed? And does it get like really hot and sweaty in there? Or it's like surprisingly okay?
I get asked that question a lot. The suit gets washed between every single game.
Okay.
We have several suits and they get put out in rotation. And as for the how comfortable it is to wear a suit.
That's a better question.
It is not unbearable.
Okay.
Yeah, it does get warm. And this job isn't for everybody, but it's not as bad as people would normally think.
Interesting. Okay. Mascots can be intimidating to some people, whether those are like small children or fully formed adults. And so I'm wondering, what percentage of people do you think are scared of Thunder?
Ooh, that's a good one. I've never been asked that before. Love that.
Yay!
If I were to maybe estimate a number, I think maybe around 20% of kids get scared, and it definitely varies depending on how like old they are. But to get around that, Thunder, I would make Thunder like into a very cute character where it's a lot of like hugs and a lot of high fives and I like, you can definitely tell when they get scared when I could close the distance.
Right.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Get closer. But I like to keep the kids like as comfortable, and so once I see that a child is not really comfortable with my presence,
Yeah.
I like to just kind of avoid them and let them enjoy the game.
That's right. What percentage of people / kids do you think should be afraid of you?
Should be?
Yeah. For context, one of our news editors like is terrified of birds. And so she is like terrified. She's just like, I am so scared. And then another one of the audience question was just like, should people be scared of thunder? I mean, like, I have an answer to that, but we're curious about your answer.
No, I don't think people should be afraid of thunder, but if people are afraid of thunder, I totally get why. It is someone that you don't really know under the mask, and I guess the anonymity is also kind of scary in that way. But I'm just there to hype up the game. I'm just there to cheer the crowd on, and it's completely understandable if you do, but I think that's not the point of Thunder. Just the point of Thunder is to be out there cheering the crowd on. Yeah.
Okay, could you rank your favorite games to go to?
Yeah. My favorite game to go to of all time is the homecoming game. It is awesome. They bring out they pull no stops at it. They pull out all the food trucks, they pull out all the clubs, they come by. We get to march from the nest all the way to the football stadium, and that trek is really fun.
Yeah.
And the vibe is great. My next favorite game would be the Winter Classic. That's another huge event.
Yeah.
They get some companies to come in, they have them like promote their booths. I love
Right.
interacting with Burb, who always comes to the Winter Classics.
Nice.
Yeah. A mascot race always happens at the Winter Classic, so that's always a classic that I look forward to. And next favorite game of like regular games, I guess, would be volleyball. Volleyball, it's a great pace. You can get a nice rhythm going with
Yeah.
the crowd, where like UBC or Thunderbird, or like if we're on like we're on the losing end, we can go defense, and just the pace of it works really well with what I'm used to.
Right.
What are some other games that I go to?
You've got courtside,
Yeah.
the festival, and then do you go to any like rugby games, any soccer games,
I
field
don't go
hockey?
to rugby games or soccer games, but I do go to hockey games.
Okay.
Where Thunder has his own hockey jersey, and I think that's really cool.
That is neat.
Yeah, and the stadium is really big and massive, and the turnout for those games are great as well. So it's nice to hype the crowd up for those games.
I was going to ask about the mascot race. I think a lot of us saw when it was you, Burb, and then the polar bear mascot. Is that you on skates racing in that race? And if so, is it easy to skate in this costume?
I will say no, it is not easy to skate, but it is no different than putting on a goalie's outfit, you know, with all the padding
Yeah.
and all that. So I wouldn't say it's all that different.
Okay.
The only downside is your vision does get a little skewed.
Yeah. Fair, fair.
Yeah.
I guess like moving forward, so do you think that you're gonna kind of continue to be Thunder up until you graduate? Is that kind of the plan? Kind of like, do you think you'll be a mascot after you graduate? Like whether that's here or whether that's somewhere else, or is that kind of just while you're in school, it's a job?
We'll see where the path takes me. Yeah.
Is that something you'd want to do? Like if it ever came up, like to go work for the Canucks or the CFL, I think has one for the Lions or somewhere like that?
I like working as a mascot.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would turn down any huge opportunities that came in my way.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would actively seek out those positions.
That's so fair. Saumya, did you have any other questions that you've thought of?
No, we just love you.
Yes, we do love you, Thunder, very much. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about or add that we haven't asked about or haven't talked about yet?
No, I think we covered.
Well, thank you, Thunder, so much for joining us. We loved having you. We loved getting to know you. So yeah, if you had any questions, we hope you enjoyed this.